So 2018 was a banner year for my channel. It was the best ever by a long mile. We had some great growth in the community around this channel, and it's thanks in part to you guys because you guys showed up, supported the videos, got engaged, went in the comment section, talked about it, shared the stuff on social media. Whether you agreed or disagreed, whether you wanted to throw stuff at me or you agreed while shaking your head violently, either positively or negatively, either way, it helped the channel grow immensely. So thank you guys for making shows that I kind of was experimenting with, like This Week in Racing, become very successful, and almost so successful to the point that many people only know my channel for that because they've come in the recent months. So this video isn't going to be talking too much about 2018. Obviously, I'm going to reference 2018 throughout this video, but it's more going to be a looking forward to the year of 2019, where the channel is going to go, where I want to take it, and I'll state some goals and aspirations I have for each particular content that I will preview in this video. So first of all, I want to talk about something that people will occasionally ask me about, or at least in terms of one of these, pretty frequently ask me about, and that's ways to support the channel. Now, first of all, I don't do a very good job of promoting it, but I do have a Patreon page. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it or what I'm going to do with it. I either want to get rid of it or I want to really start adding some serious perks for those of you who decide to support the channel through that particular avenue. But right now, it's essentially just a donate button. If you are interested in supporting the channel, that is greatly appreciated, particularly in this month of January where ad revenues on YouTube are down. And those of you obviously who are in the motorsports industry or surrounding the motorsports industry, I don't have to explain to you that it's very difficult to work in racing and be able to produce content regularly about it and really make ends meet. So I'm not too worried about it. That's why I don't promote it too much. The videos themselves do just fine for my means. So there's no problem there. But at the same time, people have asked me about it. I guess I'll put it out in the first video of the year, and then if I start adding some things to it or get rid of it entirely, I will let you know on that. More importantly, and what more people have been asking me about, is merchandise, merch, t-shirts specifically. And I can announce, though not too specifically at the moment, that yes, we are going to be doing some t-shirts for 2019. Now, these will range from channel-related shirts and merchandise to the racing side of things with my Land Speed racing with Cuthbertson Racing at the moment in the go-karts. So people have been asking about merch for the racing, and they've also been asking about merch for the channel. Now, again, I can't necessarily get into specifics, but some of the things that we're looking at are doing some channel-related memes. We'll just say that. Shirts with those on them. Some things that people have been asking for a while. You should have an opportunity to purchase very soon. I was just kind of waiting for the right opportunity to come along to do merchandise. That opportunity seems to be here. Again, I can't necessarily announce specifics, but when myself and the company I'm partnering with are ready to go forward with it, you'll be the first to know. I'll probably be modeling a few of the shirts on the channel in the videos, so that should be exciting. We're aiming to have stuff ready to buy by the Rolex 24. We'll see if that happens. Obviously, I don't know if you'll be able to actually receive things by the Rolex 24. We'll just have to see how quickly that process works. But I assure you that it's pretty much 100% happening. So yeah, merchandise, people have been asking for it. It's coming. So now we're going to talk specifically about the videos and what to expect going into 2019. Now, something that was very, very popular, and like I kind of mentioned earlier, some of the videos like This Week in Racing have almost taken off to a point where a lot of people only know me for that particular content, which is kind of surprising to me considering a lot of the videos I was doing prior to the year 2018. And in fact, really, the on-camera kind of videos really didn't start taking off until the latter half of this year when I started This Week in Racing. Believe it or not, I think that was in August. So just imagine how quickly that grew. It's clear that there was a market for on-camera speculation or on-camera discussion about not just IndyCar racing, which I've been doing since 2017 and will continue to do into 2019, but motorsports in general and some of the bigger stories breaking throughout the world of racing. And that was really interesting to see. And certainly, again, I'm going to continue that. Like I said as well, the IndyCar reviews are going to continue. Each race will have its own review. That's not going to change. I'm the only person who does that sort of content that at least at the moment people watch. I'd love it. By the way, I'd love it if there was a competitor. I'd love if somebody else came out and added a different perspective. I think that would be awesome. It's very difficult to do, like I mentioned in the opening. So, it's tough for someone to put that time commitment in. So I understand why somebody hasn't risen. Other people have asked me about doing NASCAR reviews for every single race. It's not going to happen. First of all, there are like 3 or 4 people that already do that. So me contributing to a race at Atlanta, I really can't contribute much to that. Kind of race reviews that are going to be outside of IndyCar racing are kind of going to be cherry-picked by me. I'm going to cherry-pick big races throughout the season and create content around those particular races, kind of like what we see with Indy 500 month, but much smaller and more contained. As you have seen over the last year, I did that with the Rolex 24. I will be doing that with the Rolex 24 again this year. The 24 Hours of Le Mans, I kind of slacked this year on that. I'd like to get back into it for this particular year. Obviously, the Indy 500 month, that's really the only time. It's funny, people call me an IndyCar channel. Really not the case. It's only that case once per year in the month of May. That's when pretty much all the other content shuts off and it's just strictly IndyCar. Now, that being said, I may still do This Week in Racing from a broad general sense just because there seems to be a lot of racing news that breaks in the month of May. So don't get too mad at me if there's 1 or 2 NASCAR-related topics talked about during the month of May. That's kind of been an interesting thing. Like I said, the fact that there was clearly this market out there where people really have wanted and want to consume this kind of, I guess you could say, and a lot of people said this in the comments, so I guess it's not really surprising, the Dave Despain style of content where you're just, talking straight to a camera, kind of bench racing, so to speak. And you've seen that kind of in terms of the YouTube trends, so to speak. We'll be talking about YouTube trends a little bit later. But most of the racing channels are, a lot of the predominant content is, just talking to a camera. That seems to be where YouTube racing content seems to be headed, at least in terms of some of the bigger channels. So we're going to continue that. Now, some of my goals that I have for next year in terms of that content, obviously, is to just step up my game on it, just keep churning it out, but at the same time also do it in higher production quality. You may have noticed, I hope you've noticed by now, but if you haven't, I've actually got a new lighting kit up here. I don't know how that's going to look. I haven't worked with lights since high school, so it may take me a little while to get kind of back into the groove of lighting this properly, but it should improve the video quality, at least for now, until I can get a better camera. The camera I'm working with right now cost me $200. So at some point I'd like to get a DSLR, probably before the racing season proper starts, where I'll actually be going to racetracks and filming stuff at those racetracks. By the way, my at the track content, I believe the first race I will be going to that's a major international race is the Super Sebring 1,000 miles in Sebring 12-hour combo pack, I guess you could say. That's going to be a can't miss event. I'm going to try to do bandwagoner guides for both races, though it may just end up being for the World Endurance Championship race, because that's really going to be kind of the draw to the ability to finally see Toyota with their 1,000 horsepower hybrid monsters finally on American soil and on a non-grade 1 track. That's going to be fantastic. Obviously, the month of May coverage as well, the Indy Grand Prix as well as the Indianapolis 500. That's going to be a big one. I usually go to the IndyCar race at Pocono. I'm looking at a few other races. Certainly IndyCar, probably going to be the primary place I end up going. Obviously, IMSA races are kind of next down the totem pole. NASCAR, it's going to be tough. I may end up doing the Brickyard this year, but again, once you start getting further down the line into the year, that's where things become murky, because again, I'm going to have my own personal racing schedule this year, which is going to make things tough to schedule in terms of actually being able to go to real life races. Speaking of the racing schedule proper, the racer vlogs will continue. Some people have been confused a little bit that my Indianapolis expedition was the only race I ran last year. That's only because I've been slacking. I have a whole nother racer vlog that I filmed. I need to get it up. It just seemed like everything stacked up. The channel really blew up right after I put together my second vlog. So hopefully during this winter time period, hopefully this month, I will have that finally out for you to see. But next year, or this year I should say, it is 2019 when I'm filming this, I want to step the racing up significantly. Now, obviously, this is a little bit more of a personal thing for me. You know, the people who are showing up every week for the This Week in Racing may not be as interested in my personal racing career, but I do love putting the racer vlogs together. I love filming those things, and obviously I love going racing myself. I love the competition, and I really want to get good at it. I want to be competitive. One of the things and one of the stated goals that I have for next year is going to be upgrading my equipment. The chassis that I'm currently racing with, which was graciously provided by my team, by the way, Cuthbertson Racing, but I have it on very good authority. We'll just say from the manufacturer themselves that it's a 20-year-old chassis. It was built in 1999. And if you think about conventional racing, think about how many competitive racing cars are out there right now that were built in 1999. Just for comparison's sake, my kart is eligible for vintage racing. So it's not ideal. I'd certainly like to be in better equipment. That's something I'm working very hard to do. In terms of my racing schedule proper, which races I'll be going to, which races I won't be going to, that's going to be up to decide. Currently, the racing organizers have not put out schedules for any of the kart races yet, so I really don't have a set goal or idea of where I'm going to race. I'd like to race for a championship somewhere, or at least the equivalent of a full season. Whether or not that's bouncing between series and whatnot, who knows? There are a lot of options on the table. One of the things I was doing at PRI was not only talking to people for doing things with the channel, but I was also talking to people about doing things with the racing. There are a couple options on the table. There are a couple people I'm talking to that could really help in terms of being able to achieve my goals in racing. And obviously I'll be able to film those and put them up on the channel in terms of the racer vlogs. Obviously, the team and I are going to be doing some testing in the spring. That will be an interesting vlog from the perspective of what does it take to get acclimatized to a kart. I don't have a whole lot of laps, even in my 20-year-old kart. In fact, the last race I ran at Newcastle Motorsports Park, my first lap on the track was in the race. So you can see how that's not necessarily conducive to someone being able to get up to speed and run competitively. So I don't want to ramble too much about that, but that's kind of my goals in terms of the racing, and hopefully that'll be some excellent content going forward. Reviews. People have wondered about my reviews and whatnot. They're still happening. The problem is a lot of times it goes to the YouTube trend thing where reviews aren't really something that people go to YouTube for racing content anymore. It's like, look at I don't want to necessarily say this, but look at the diecast review channels. There's really not a lot of them left, and the ones that are still doing it, they don't have a particularly huge impact anymore. Whereas 5 or 6 years ago they did. It's kind of gone, the YouTube racing thing, and I'm giving free advice here, by the way, is that it's kind of gone diecast reviews to gaming to this kind of content where it's a little bit more focused on the actual sport itself. So from that perspective, obviously I'm going to be doing a little bit less of it. I still do enjoy doing it, though, no doubt about it. By the way, the next video that you will see on this channel is a review of this Lego NASCAR. That's all I have to say about that for now. But yeah, that's where the reviews stand. I know some people that's going to disappoint, and sorry. Gaming, that's kind of another thing that's going to be a little bit more of a reduction. Unfortunately, a lot of it has to do with the reduction, I should say, is the fact that last year was not a very good year for racing games. Not a whole lot of stuff came out. Obviously, there was F1 2018 as well as NASCAR Heat. But outside of that, there wasn't like a Project Cars. There wasn't a Gran Turismo. There wasn't a Forza that was a racing game. There was the Horizon, which is not really something that fits into my channel particularly well. Now, something that a lot of people have asked me about, and it is a goal for next year, is to do iRacing. Get into that, start doing a little bit of stuff with that. Again, that's going to require a new PC. A lot of people say, well, you can probably run it on any laptop. Yeah, you're right, but I can't record it on any laptop. That's kind of the problem. You need a higher end PC to be able to record higher end sims. So to be able to stream it, to be able to record it, do videos properly on it, I need a better rig. So that's where that stands right now. But I do know that iRacing, as well as doing AI, or at least going to integrate that in the near-ish future. So when they integrate that, hopefully I'll actually have iRacing at that point, because that'll open up a lot of possibilities to do videos with cars and tracks that aren't necessarily popular within the sim, or whether or not iRacing chooses to run their own races on them. I would be able to choose, hey, I want to do the Kia versus the IR08 IndyCar at the Kansas road course. I could do something silly like that and be able to do it because of the AI integration into the game. So there's the games. One more thing I do want to talk about is kind of the long form edited content, or the content where everything's heavily edited. The bandwagoners guides, for example, those are going to continue into next year. Obviously, those are very popular. The starting grids as well. Nothing much is going to change there. Going to do them for the big races. But also, something that I experimented with last year, really liked where it went, was the top 10 lists. I'm going to continue doing those, as well as kind of the heavily edited editorials that I did a few of. The next top 10 list, by the way, if you're wondering, I'll reveal this now, is the top 10 IndyCar in Australia moments. And obviously, if you've been keeping up with the news, you'll know why that's relevant. Yeah, those videos usually take me a little bit longer to do, but at the same time, they look good for the channel, and a lot of people, that's easily consumable content. Just look at What Culture, for God's sakes. They're mostly top 10 videos, as well as kind of the videos that I'm doing right now, where you just kind of talk to the camera. So my goals for that, really pretty simple. Just keep doing them and do them better. In fact, I've already got ideas in my head for top 10 lists during Indy 500 month, and I'm working on formulating some for the Daytona 500 as well. So stay tuned for those. Outside of that, I think that's pretty much everything. Again, I don't want to keep you for too long, but I did want to give you an overview kind of where I'm going to go with the channel heading into the next year. I couldn't be more excited. I think there's a lot of things that are going well. I'm excited with the growth. I'm excited. I mean, when I went to PRI, I can't, again, it's kind of one of those things where I can't be specific, but it's like, the channel has some impact and it has some reach, and that's really neat. That's really neat. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see how much further I can go in 2019 with this channel and with you guys along. Thank you for all of your support in 2018, and I'm looking forward to bringing you some great racing content in 2019. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube, and we'll see you in the next video for the start of the 2019 David Land on YouTube video season.